What's up, beautiful people? TikTok, IGTV, YouTube, massive. We are literally back with a spoiler review of Loki episode 3. If you haven't seen Loki episode 3, please go watch it and then watch this particular video because it will be a spoiler for you. Overall, I found the episode was kind of slow to a degree, but it was action packed. Also, I enjoyed the train scenes. I think they were pretty cool. Kind of reminded me of like 007 when Loki was fighting off all of these goons and all these henchmen. It was quite interesting, quite cool, quite fun. I found also this episode really concentrated on the relationship between Loki and Lady Loki. And, I don't like to call her Lady Loki because I still, in my mind, believe that she's Enchantress from the Marvel comics. The fact that she said, I think for the second or third time, I don't like to be called Loki. I honestly think she isn't a Loki, period, 100%. It's quite interesting because in the comics, Lady Loki is actually Loki. Like, Loki jumps into Lady Sif's body, I believe, and initially becomes Loki, but in her body. So it's funny how they've basically split the character and given you Loki and so-called Lady Loki. So wouldn't it be a dope twist if initially this Lady Loki was actually Loki from Avengers Endgame? He never actually died. He pretty much saw what was happening. He'd cloned himself, made it out to be like he really died, and now he's in this body just creating havoc literally within the timeline. Who knows? I'm just throwing it out there. This is a Loki series. Anything can literally happen with Loki. Expect, of course, the unexpected. I like the fact they touched upon Loki's backstory with his mum and so forth, and also they finally confirmed pretty much his gender fluid sexuality, which goes back to, of course, the comics and, of course, literally, I believe the Loki mythology, literally too. They also kind of just delved deep into how Loki appreciated his mum and more of a backstory of literally how he grew up and so forth, in regards to how his mum treated him, how he came across magic and everything else. So it was quite interesting. And the dope thing is we did find out the reason Lady Loki couldn't basically get into Loki's mind was because his mind was actually strong. And I'm thinking, it's quite interesting because we all assumed Loki was this like comedian type of guy who can be possessed and can be, played around with. But we've actually found out that Loki pretty much has a solid titanium vibranium mind. What was pretty cool, and I think the best part of the episode was when Lady Loki was describing or explaining to Loki that the TVA employees, they're not created by the timekeepers. They were actually taken from Earth. So I was like, which kind of made me realize, hold on a second, this is why Mobius was so fixated on the jet skis. Like, why? Was that a past memory from when he was on Earth? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Now he's recording those memories, but he doesn't think they're actually memories. He just likes them for a particular reason. So we're kind of putting the puzzle together here. And of course the question is, what happens when Mobius realizes that he isn't created by the TVA, that he actually is from Earth? What does he do? What happens to him? Does he rebel? Does he go against the TVA and actually joins Loki's march and actually destroying the timekeepers? Quite interesting, right? That's quite interesting. So that adds another aspect to the story, which also makes you think: are they really, when you go into the TVA, if they've lied basically about the fact that that they are actually the timekeepers and the TVA are the people that basically maintain the time stream, if they've lied about that in regards to kidnapping people from Earth and bringing them into the TVA, are they actually in a realm where time doesn't exist? Or are they on a particular planet, maybe a hologram, a projection on a planet with a force field that stops any form of magic or any aspects of time activating any type of like artifacts, weapons like the Infinity Stones, like the Tesseract and so forth? So that's another question to ask. Where is the TVA literally, and is that an actual place? Is it a hologram? Like, who knows? Like, who literally knows? quite interesting, right? When you think of that particular scene, I was like, interesting, because I found the TVA to be a bit fishy. You know, three lizard timekeepers, you know, maintaining the time stream. Where are they? No one knows. I'm trying to say. And initially, why is Lady Loki so adamant in destroying these three lizards? Like, why? Why? Unless she has a particular beef or a history of them that she wants to put to end. So that is very, very interesting. And it just asks the question at the end of episode 6, what happens to the TVA? What happens to Mobius? Or will Loki be in charge of the TVA, or Lady Loki be in charge of the TVA? Like, what happens to the TVA after this? And it's quite interesting. What's really interesting is, like, the Celestials who came down to Earth at the beginning of Earth, they're supposed to be like the gods, right? So I was thinking they were the originators, basically, because they're the originators of Earth. But are they also the originators of, I don't know, of time? Are they the people that actually created the timekeepers? Who knows? That's a very good question. Who is older, the timekeepers or the Celestials or the Eternals? Very cool question, but that's another conversation for another video. But yeah, overall, it was a cool, slow burn episode. It was comedic, it was fun. It kind of dip a little bit in storyline, but I guess that had to be the case in regards to what they actually dealt with in the episode. But overall, I really enjoyed episode 1 and 2 and 3. For me, you know, these Marvel TV series have been very, very cool. It's as if we're watching basically a Loki series on the big screen, just like as if we were watching the Falcon and the Winter Soldier or Wonder Vision in the big screen. Because if you put all of these episodes together, it's one gigantic big movie, or movies, sorry. So I'm really excited, literally, of course, about that. And I really want to find out how this particular series connects with the MCU. Because think of it realistically, the first time we heard of the multiverse was in the first Doctor Strange movie, when the Ancient One first came across Doctor Strange. Then we were introduced and heard that name being the multiverse again in Spider-Man Far Away From Home. Now we've pretty much heard it again, and it's been solidified in of course, the Loki episode 2. And of course, if you know or didn't know, like, Loki episode 2 came out on the 16th, of the 6th being the 6th month. If you flip those numbers around, you get this Marvel 616 universe. And that was the episode that really, really showed us that one time stream, that line, you know, splitting into different multiverses. So quite interesting. But who knows what's going to happen from that? Are they different time streams, different multiverses that are being born, or are they literally, because the main time stream has been maybe twisted, turned, it's been destroyed or manipulated somehow by this particular Loki, that it's caused multiple fractures and caused micro multiverses from this particular main multiverse. But overall, who knows? Doctor Strange might be the movie that actually introduces the multiverse, because it has the title Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So who knows? Everyone was thinking it might be Spider-Man 3, No Way From Home, of all the speculation of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and the Spider-Verse and everything, you know, being in that particular movie. Who knows what movie or series will basically ignite the multiverse? But from what I'm seeing now, we can all agree that what we saw in episode 2, Loki has concreted the multiverse. You know, my theory is, can you imagine if this Loki series is initially, it comes before the MCU. It is the series that births the MCU into existence. It's before the first Iron Man movie. Like, can you imagine if this is the Loki series, he is the character that births that particular MCU universe into existence? Who knows? I'm just throwing it out there. It could be, it may not be. But overall, back to episode 3. What's going to happen now? The Ark is destroyed. They can't basically, of course, get out of the planet. So what are they going to do in episode 4? What are they going to do in episode 4? And how are they going to pretty much survive and move forward? I honestly think that Loki's playing games with her, because I think that particular device that they have to travel through time, I honestly think that he has the real one, and the one that he showed her was just like a hologram type of thing. Or the way they can actually get out of this particular Armageddon scenario situation is Mobius comes out of nowhere and says, all right, cool, both of you with me, and then they explain the situation, and then it kicks off from there. Because if you think of it realistically, I automatically thought this episode was going to be about, cool, Loki steals the Tesseract, basically, and then he works for the TVA to do missions, and then saves, stops this particular variant, Lady Loki, and then whatever happens, happens. But now it's been twisted. We find that, like Lady Loki is she a villain? She's not really a villain. She has her own particular mission. So there's Loki. We find that Mobius and the TVA crew, the employees, haven't been created by the timekeepers. They've been abducted from Earth. So much multiple storylines forming into one, and it makes it very unpredictable to see what's going to happen next. And this is Loki. I thought, like, with Wanda and Vision, when I saw it, I was like, this is nuts. But with Loki, it's a show where you really can't predict what's going to happen next. Now you've got two of these characters, maybe one. I don't think, like I said, she's not a Loki for me. But overall, that's my theory. That's my thoughts on Loki episode 3. I cannot wait for episode 4. What was missing from this episode was Mobius. It was like, Mobius to me is like Thor to Loki. So when he wasn't in this episode, I was like, it kind of dragged a little bit, because he's like Thor to Loki. So these two are very cool together, and of course I look forward to seeing what happens at the end. What will Marvel do with the God of Mischief? What will happen? And the question that everyone is wanting to ask, and they want it to be a yes, it will happen. It has to happen. Will Loki ever get to meet Thor again? Ever? And I think the answer to that is, he's the God of Mischief. Of course he is. He loves his brother, regardless of the situations. He will see Thor one way or another, and Thor will be like, brother! Anyways, that's my thoughts. Episode was cool, fun, kind of dragged a little bit to a degree, but it was fun, comedic, action-packed, more storyline and essence, and really getting deep into basically what the characters really are in their essence. So when I mean dragged, I don't mean like, it was boring. There was moments where because I was used to like just fast pace. Anyway, fast paced scenes, fast paced TV series. Overall, cannot wait. Episode 4, Loki, comes out next week. And of course, question of the day, what did you think of Loki episode 3? What are your fan theories, thoughts? And what do you think is really the reason the timekeepers have kidnapped pretty much people from